Hello and welcome back to Piers Park Ocean Science After School. Today me and my brother John are going to go on a little trip and teach you about ocean birds in the area, because a lot of times you look out and you think that they're all just seagulls, but there are actually a lot of different kinds of birds that live around here, and today we're going to go on a little trip and we're going to show you the different kinds of birds. Alright, so to make sure that what we're teaching you is accurate, me, my brother, and my mom, we went on a little walk wearing the proper protection, and we went to the beach to see what kinds of birds we could see. And we ended up going to 2 beaches, and we saw a lot of different kinds of birds, and now we're coming back so that we can teach you about them so that you can go and observe them in the beaches around your house. Alright, so the first bird that we're going to talk about here is a herring gull. And this one, all of you guys know, it's a normal seagull. And one thing to point out here when you're looking at it is that this little red spot here is one way that you can determine whether it's a herring gull versus another type of seagull called a ring-billed gull. So a herring gull is about 2 feet long. They eat fish mainly, and they're very common. So whenever you go out, you'll probably see a bunch of them.
So the next bird we'll be talking about is called an eider. And when it's swimming, it looks almost the same as a seagull. But one way that you can tell the difference is that an eider has a little black crown on the top of its head. But other than that, it's basically the same size as a seagull, about 2 feet. And then another difference is that eiders, instead of eating like clams and fish, eiders will dive to the bottom of the ocean to get like plants and stuff, and that's what they eat.
Alright, so the next bird that we're going to talk about is the cormorant, and cormorants are also pretty common in the area. They're a big black bird. They're about 32 inches wide, so they're bigger than seagulls, and a lot of times you're going to see cormorants diving under the water to catch fish, which is super interesting. They have a really long neck, and a lot of times you'll also see them like hanging out on docks and things like that. So just keep your eye open for them. They're really cool.
So the fourth bird we'll be talking about is called a white-winged scoter, and it gets its name from the little white part on its wing. It's a small black duck about half the size of a cormorant, and just like a cormorant, it actually also dives, but instead of getting fish, this one gets like little clams on the bottom of the ocean. And a few things that are cool about it. If you look closely, it actually has a little white patch around its eyes, and it has a kind of bright red bill.
Alright, so the last bird that we're going to be talking about here is the common loon. And so, the common loon is quite interesting because in the wintertime, it looks like this. And then in the summertime, if you ever see it, it's going to look like this. And so now if you go out and see it, most of the time they're going to be looking like this. So they have a white little shade here, and they're mostly brown or a little gray. But they start shedding their feathers, and they by summertime they're going to look like this. They're going to be a cool black and a white pattern, which is really interesting. A loon is about the same size as a cormorant, so it's like about 30 inches. And it has a really strong and thick beak that's used to catch fish. And so they're really interesting, especially around this time of year, because now they're starting to shed their feathers and change colors. So it's really interesting to keep on the lookout and just to see where they are in the transition. All right, so now that we've taught you a little bit about the different kinds of birds in the area, the experiment for this week is just to go outside and to observe the birds. So what you're going to need some kind of protective wear. So you're going to need to cover your face.
Some binoculars if you have any.
And you're going to need your parents' permission. So ask them first, and then if they say yes, go down to some beaches and look at the different kinds of birds, and they're really interesting.